Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. I have a great rack. I've got the blank and I have bingos. And I'm looking to find a bingo which duplicates one of the tiles on my rack as the blank so that I'm providing my opponent with as few floaters as possible. And I can do that with Gradan and Grandad. Not sure if either is particularly better, fairly marginal. Gradan for 70. Not so good, just the one vowel. But the Z's a good scoring tile. And at the moment I can play that above the second A of Gradan. And that stays available. Fantastic. So I have Zek in that spot. And although I'm leaving 4 consonants, there is some synergy going on here. So Zek for 49. Can I do any better? I do have Glitz through the eye, but that doesn't score enough, and I don't have anything else in this spot. I'm going with this. Well, I do draw a couple of vowels, which is good. But overall, it's not a bingo-y rack. I think if there were to be a bingo, it would be through a vowel. And at the moment, there's just the I available. And I'm not seeing something through that. Now, my G can go underneath ZA, so I could play Gent to sort out the duplicates on my rack and score quite well. And my G can also go to the left of the I of Druid. In fact, the same word in that spot, so I certainly can sort this rack out. K takes an O in front for future reference. And Zek only takes an S. Gent in column 4 doesn't score very much. Just 16 points, so certainly the row I placement to be preferred. I have a 100-point lead, so a great start. Great, just 5 for opponent. So this is what I'm looking at. Gent for 25. Gent takes an S and a Y. Through an S, I would have had Gentlest, or would have Gentlest. Can I do any better than Gent? Now, what about column 8, which opponent has opened up? 6-letter plays, beginning next to the E. Well, Gentle doesn't work because EG isn't good. Does that have an anagram? I could play Telnet, retaining the G. But that scores less than Gent, with a worse rackclave and worse strategically, given that it provides floaters for opponent. I'm going with this. Well, a balanced rack. No duplicates. Through an O, I would have a half tone. Wow, great bingo for opponent, which he also would have had in row L. So my lead now shrunk to just 30 points. What a difference a few moments can make. Now, do I have a 5-letter play beginning with the F? F-L-E-A. And then the story ends. What else do I have? Nothing going, neither of my high-scoring tiles going between I and E. I'd like to play off both of F and H. Let me satisfy myself that there are no bingos with this rack. Opponent has provided a few floaters, and I do have the LY ending. Not seeing anything with that. Or with the R. What about the E? No, not seeing anything there. So, how about column 8? Do I have a 6-letter play beginning F or H, or getting either of those doubled, or indeed any play at all in that column? Well, I do. I have Lathen keeping the F. 32 points. Can I do better than that? What does half score here? 28 points with a better rack cleave. I prefer that. And what about a play parallel to hosiery? And I really am looking to get rid of both F and H. H isn't a disaster, but I'm not a massive fan of it. Well, I'm not seeing anything in column 12. The best I can see is Fen, which doesn't score as well as half or Lathen. Just wondering if I have something better in column 8. Lathen doesn't stick the either premium tile next to the E or on this double letter square. Just wondering if I have any H something F plays. Not seeing anything. I can see Thenal, but that's just the same as Lathen in terms of score. I am going with half. Well, a long way from a bingo, but I do have some vowels. I have Jetty on my rack. Half takes an A and an S at the end for future reference. Now I do have Jetty in row M for a fairly lowly score, but sorting the rack out somewhat. It would be nice to play off the Y as well as the J, which the row M play does not do. I can't see any 6-letter plays in column 8. So is Jetty the only JY play? And at the moment there is nowhere for that. Yeah, I'm not seeing anywhere else. Great, just 15 points for opponent. His play doesn't provide anything new. So I do have Jetty, which is quite good in the sense that it's getting rid of the J. Rack cleave is just about okay. It's scoring over 20 points. Still the X to come for this E spot, which isn't good. And I'm blocking bingo lanes, and I do have a lead, so there's quite a lot which is good about Jetty. My concern is that there is something better. But what? I could play JEU in column 14, but I don't think double T massively helps this rack. Do I have something through this E? 14 minutes on my clock. Not that I can see. I feel slightly uneasy about this play. And it's not so much the possibility of opponent having the X, it's more that I'm just overlooking an obviously better play. I could play Jeffe through the F. But again, I think the rack cleave would be worse. 5 more points in score though. I'm going with Jetty. Well, a balanced rack, a balanced non-bingo-y rack. However, I should have plenty of scoring choices with the PY and the vowels that I have. There could be an 8-letter bingo here. I've got the Pody ending. Can't see anything through the P. And not too many other floaters to consider. I don't have a high scoring tile which can go under the E. Great, opponent's gone there for only 32 points, and he's opened up row O, which is one reason I wasn't overly concerned about that spot. So what do I have in row O? I have Pony. Do I have something better? Peony is better. Not sure I can extend that any further. Can I play further underneath? So a play would have A and then O or E. Y, O or E. So I have knied. Let me just see what this scores. 46 points, which is good, but I'm wincing because of this rack leave. So that's 46. Let's see what else is on offer. So this is what I first thought about. 43, similar score, better rack leave. Can I do any better? I don't have an A for Nya Ope. And look at this, Peony providing another hotspot. 12 minutes on my clock. Now, it's not just the Y that can go under JA, the P can as well. So I could play open, but I think I'd like to get rid of the Y as well. So is Peony and Pony the only ways to do that? And I'm just looking at this rack for candidate plays right now. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. Pony would avoid putting a vowel underneath this triple letter square, but it would keep D, E, O, and there are quite a lot of E's to come. Well, opponent's gone, but he's not too far behind, so maybe he'll come back. And he does. So I think I'll get this down. Peony for 43. Well, another very similar rack in that it's balanced and non-bingo-y with scoring tiles. Through an R, I would have chord Wayne. No R's available. In fact, almost no floaters available at all. I do now have an A for going after half. And I have a W for going above the E. And my C can go under TY. Wow, fantastic bingo for opponent. Fortunately, only 59 points. But my lead shrinks to 20. What to do here? Has opponent provided any useful floaters? Well, the S generally is useful. So I could play Wind Axe for 34 points. No blanks to come now. And a lot of tiles to come, so I'd be drawing a lot of rubbish. That's 34 points. That's only 6 fewer points, but this is a much better rack leave. And I think it's just the S which is useful in Scatopia. And if I played Wind Axe, I'd be creating 2 new very good bingo lanes. A better play in row C would be one beginning with the C. But I'm not seeing such a play. So, can I do better than woe? What about bottom right? Is there a 5-letter play beginning with C? I think Cowan is good. 38 points, that's a decent score. And DI is a decent rack leave. Can I do better than that in this spot? And a better than this play would involve playing the C and the W. Not that I can't see a better play, I'm going with this. Well, a lot of E's. Through a K, I would have Weed-like. Wow, that K is close to being available. Can't see an 8 ending in S. Close to Edelweiss, if there was 2 S's on the board, which there never would be. Certainly not in a void game. Now I've drawn the second W, which means, again, I've got this peony spot for it. Good score for opponent, 36 points, so just 20 points between us. Close game. And this S could be critical. Remaining tiles contain some non-bingo-y tiles in Q, X, V and F. But there's quite a few bingo-y ones there as well. Now let me check the remaining vowels. 13 out of 33. Wow, quite vowel dry. That means this is a better play than it otherwise would be. 28 points, good score. Can I do better? NU is good. Well, maybe that's just a better spot altogether for WE. So 28 in this spot. 2 more points here. Setting up a spot. I'm setting up a spot for the B and the F. But it's 2 more points. And I'm setting up an R spot. 3 R's to come. Row K is a bingo lane for bingos ending E something S, which WE interrupts. Let me just pause here. Only 2 points between these two. But I'm in the lead, so I think I will play it here, because if I draw a B or an F, this spot could be more useful for me than it is for opponent. This could give me a winning lead, whereas with opponent, it'll just draw him back level or close to me. And also this rack lead goes well with the S, so if opponent is playing down here in row K, I may be able to get a bingo down. So we for 30. I have fielders in row C and defilers. Shive is good, but Gradan interrupts column 3 bingos. Great, look at that. Opponent does play in row K. 32 points. Thought that would be more, given that he's using the axe. And I have fielders and defilers. I think defilers is better, because it means opponent can score less in column 8, and I'm not putting a vowel next to this triple letter square. So defilers for 76. Not bad. It's not a bingo, but it's balanced and really the same pattern as earlier moves, with scoring tiles and vowels to enable me to play them. And it's good to see these vowels since the bag was vowel dry. Great, just 24 points for opponent. Having said this is not a bingo Iraq, it's not a million miles away from one. I've got the ob prefix, I've got ovonic and ovonics through the C, I've got ovibos and seeds, which is quite nice. It does burn all the vowels, but there are still 7 vowels to come out of 18 tiles, so I'd be unlucky to draw all consonants. And ovibos has the advantage of doing something. Yeah, expediting the end of the game, because I'm turning over 6 tiles when there's only 11 in the bag, and the score is quite good, and I'm taking out a bingo lane. The only thing that would be wrong about this move would be if I'm overlooking a bingo, but I haven't seen it, so ovibos for 30. And that's a pretty good pickup. Just looking at the E of seeds to see if I have a bingo through that. Not seeing one, but it's a good pickup not because it's bingo-y, but because it could have been a whole lot worse. And I have a 100-point lead, which is pretty good. Opponent could have a big Q play. He could have a 100-point Q play. And he still could have. So 4 tiles in the bag. My goal, to play off 3 and to score well. So what's more dangerous, the top of the board or column 2? Al takes an A in front of it and an S. So opponent could have quant for about 70 points, which probably wouldn't be enough to win. But I need to play the best play. I'd quite like to play MIB, but I'm not seeing a spot for that. And again, I'm coming back. Well, there is this spot. And this, I probably didn't explain this properly, but quant is quite a likely play. And there's quail as well. So there's a whole choice of plays in column 2. So although there are bingos playable at the top of the board and in column 2, there are a lot more non-bingos playable in column 2. So overall, I think it's worth playing in column 2 to take out that spot. And I think I can survive a top of the board bingo there. I think that's everything I wanted to say. And Mal takes nothing in front, so I'm going with this. I have Latrant, nowhere for that. I have, well, do I have something onto this E? Wow, Tarlitan doesn't quite fit, but I think there's Alternat and Alterant, and none of those 3 work. So that was close. Just checking the same bingos in row D, but none of them play. No other bingo lanes on the board. So I can see what opponent's got. He's got 7 out of these 8 tiles. He could have a bingo, but I lead by 120, so I don't think his bingo is going to win, even if he gets his Q doubled. He might take the lead, but I think I could score enough points with this rack, just about. I haven't seen a bingo for my opponent. Just wondering if he has Liquas. He may. No, he doesn't have enough, the right tiles for that, through either the C or the E. Anyway, he's got 13 minutes to decide what to do. I think whatever he does loses, which is a nice position to be in, but I can't be 100% sure of that. So, I don't have a bingo through the E that's playable. What about through the C? Not that I can see. There are no other bingo lanes. I've got no scoring tiles. So, what to do? Well, 11 points for opponent, so he could still bingo. What does he have with this rack plus a C? Well, I haven't seen anything, but there could be something. Not seeing it. How about an E? That looks less likely. Well, opponent has resigned, and he was going to lose regardless, so that's not too bad or too surprising. And the final score, 323 for my opponent, 431 for me, a winning margin of 108 points, so a huge win. Let's see what I missed. It was me to go first, and I had this great rack and a whole choice of bingos playable. I still like mine because it used the blank as a tile I already had. Opponent's rack, no bingo. He plays Druid, and I have Zek for 49, so an absolutely fantastic start for me. I am 100 points in the lead. An opponent, unbalanced rack, ton of vowels, all 1-pointers, plays Jew. And I played Gent, and I could have played Gelt, and Gelt would have been better. It takes one fewer hook at the end. Gelt only takes an S, not S and Y, and the rack leave of ENT is better than ELT, not by much, possibly just 1 or 2 points, but I think ENT is better. Opponent's rack. And this is a fantastic spot. Plays hosiery. Could have had it starting at C13, making Genty for 99, but he got 6 fewer points playing it where he did. My rack. And if opponent had played it higher up, I would have had half tone. So, what a shame. Halfen is good. Wow. 8J, that's the play I was hoping to find and didn't. So I play half for 28 and halved K12. Okay, halved quite good. It does take an S, so not a massive fan, but it was there. And it does score 9 more points than my play. So there were alternatives there. Quite a nice rack for opponent. No bingo. Plays Oop. And this was a rack I struggled with. I went with Jetty for 23. I didn't like retaining the Y. But you can see all of the other moves retain either the Y or the J. F6. Jeet and Utu, quite nice, keeping NT for 33. And that's 10 more points than Jetty, and a rack leave, which probably is slightly better, so I think Jeet is a much better play. Opponent's rack, no bingo. Plays Ami, which is great because I have a choice of row-o plays. I played Peony for 43. And I could have played Dopey for 46. Where's that? 05. Oh, well, just Dopey and J for 46. Yep, that would have been a better play. Just. Opponent's rack. Fantastic bingo here. Scatopia, the only one available, so absolutely superb spot. And just 20 points between us. I play Cowan for 38. That looks fine. And horrible rack for opponent. He has drawn 7 random tiles, but that's pretty bad luck. Plays Vor. And what do I do here? I play Wee. J10 for 30 points, and I quite like this rack leave. However, look at this, We're playable, that's nice. Wem, Etic and Et, slightly better rack leave, slightly more points. And then in the same spot, Weird, playing off ED as well, so I think Weird probably the better play. Best play, rather. Opponent's rack. He plays Grex, and that's fine because it leaves the top of the board for my bingo. Now, I lead by 100. This is opponent's rack. He plays seed, and there are 11 tiles in the bag. I play Oviboz for 30, Vice and N2. Oh, pretty good. Well, it is pretty good score-wise, but the reason I like Oviboz is it takes out the E for a bingo. It also takes out row E for bingos with E ending E or S, or with E and S in them. And I wasn't quite far enough ahead to guarantee the win. And even if I was, I think it would be good to take out bingo lanes to maximise my winning spread. So this is opponent's rack. He's got bingos on his rack, Equinal and Quinella. Nowhere for them. Plays off just the Q. And I play off 3 tiles here to leave 1 in the bag, and also to take out this hot column 2, both for bingos and non-bingos. Although, given that opponent has just played off... No, he hasn't played off the Q, he's got the Q. So this was opponent's rack, no bingos available. Plays Chi. Tetanal D7, that's pretty epic. Wow, running underneath defilers. Very nice. I didn't do that. What do I do? Why isn't this progressing? Let's see if we can go back. Mib. Chi. Ah, opponent resigned. Okay, great. Well, I'm not going to agonise over why the arrow key isn't working. This is the point at which opponent resigned, and I was 100 points in the lead, so the game was hopeless from his perspective. Anyway, cracking game, fantastic. Always great to start with a bingo and then to follow that up with Zek and a 100-point lead gives you an enormous amount of confidence. You're automatically a massive favourite to win the game, but you're not quite far enough ahead for the game to be won because there's still an entire game to play and a bag full of tiles. But it's a great position to be in, and it's a wide open game, and there were bingos from both sides, and the opponent did actually catch up to within 20 points at one stage. So all good fun. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.